This is Annie Banerjee, and I'm an immigration attorney in Houston, Texas. And today I'm going to talk to you about marriage-based interview. Say you have, and this is my cat, as you can see her little ear. So, anyways, you are a U.S. citizen and you fall in love with somebody who's not from this country. They may be here because they came in, they have a H-1B visa or a student visa, or they came in on a visitors and overstayed. And then you meet them, you fall in love, you filed your petition, that's the I-140 petition, along with the I-485 petition, which is their adjustment of status. They've married a U.S. citizen, so they can adjust status to become the green card holder. So you file the petition, your spouse, the foreign national spouse, has already had their fingerprinting and biometrics, and they may or may not have received their work permit, travel permit. And now it's the time, and you get the letter for the interview at the CIS field office. What would you do? So what you would do is you would go and go to that office, obviously, at the date and time that is posted in that office. And when you go there, the office will have a metal detector, and it's just like going through any airport. If you have something metallic, it will clang, so don't take any metallic. Your purses and bags are going to go through a detector as well, so don't have anything that might be construed as a weapon in your purse, things like nail cutters, scissors. And it's basically the same process that you go through when you go through the airport. And then you will be, depending on that district office's procedure, they will guide you what to do. And then ultimately you will meet the officer. The officer first swears you in to tell the truth and the whole truth. And yes, it is very important to tell the truth. Then you sit down, and the officer might make some small talks as to where did you meet, when did you meet, how was everything, anything really that man and wife does. You are actually proving that you are married. So what are the elements of marriage? The elements of marriage are intent to get married, which means that you intend to stay together until death do you apart. So intention of getting married, and then you are actually married, and then you hold out to the society as man and spouse and spouse. So this is very important. The marriage is done to tell the society that you are married. And so you would have to prove that you have held out as spouse and spouse. It could be a husband-wife, husband-husband, wife-wife. And so you have held out to society as married couple. Now, so what do? The officer will first determine that you are who you are. Like if you are John Smith, your driver's license and your passport and everything says you are John Smith. Now, what do you have to take with you? You will have to take all your original documents. You had probably supplied copies of your birth certificate, marriage certificates, and whatever else you have had. So take your originals of everything, and then you have to take cohabitation documents. What are cohabitation documents? These are the documents where you have to prove that you are indeed married and you will live together and you are living together and all your finances are joined together. So what I tell people to do after they get married, and they sometimes forget to do this, is save for their work for life insurance beneficiaries, health insurance beneficiaries, 401k beneficiaries. If you have any of those, that obviously put the other spouse as the beneficiary. Have joint bank accounts, and sometimes clients tell me that they cannot get a joint bank account, especially if they have not received their work permit. They cannot get a joint bank account because they don't have a social security. And in that case, just go to the IRS and get what is called an ITIN number, and that is a individual tax identification number, ITIN, and that will work to get bank accounts. So yes, it is important to have the finances joined. Now, while it is important to have the finances joined, is it absolutely necessary? I have had clients who would prefer to have their own economic, like they are married together, they are living together as man and wife, everybody knows them as man and wife, but sometimes because of bad credit or sometimes because of whatever reason, they want to keep their finances separate. Well, even if you don't have a joint bank account, for instance, life insurance, when you die, who's going to take over everything you have in terms of life insurance? You have to make that person the life insurance beneficiaries. Now, let's say you work in a cash economy and you don't have any financial documents whatsoever. Well, it will be your burden to prove that you are, number one, you intend to marry. Number two, you are actually holding out as man and wife, i.e., you did not get into this marriage just to get the immigration benefit. What can you take with you? Well, pictures, for instance, pictures of both spouses' family together. Usually, if somebody gets married just for immigration benefits, they don't tell their families, or their families don't come together, and therefore, the families might, in an actual marriage, the families do get together and stay as man and wife, and that is important. Pictures, you can have any number of documents. If you've gone somewhere, if you've eaten at a restaurant and used a credit card, or well, probably restaurant wouldn't be a good bet, but what about tickets? If you've seen movies together, save the tickets. If you've seen movies with you and the spouse and other friends, well, ask them for all their tickets and keep it with you. If you have gone anywhere, really anywhere, then anywhere you have the both names together, electric bill, utilities bills, things like that needs to be together because you guys are, and rental agreement, because of course you are living together as man and wife. Worst case scenario, of course, would be that the officer can interview you guys separately, both spouses. They will be asking a list of questions. It can be any list of questions. And then they can go back to the other spouse and they will ask the exact same questions. And if the answers match, then obviously you are married. If the answers don't match, you are not married. So That is why it's very important to tell the truth. There is no way to prepare for this. How are you going to prepare? There is no way to prepare because you don't know what they ask, what the officer will ask. The officer could ask, what did you eat for supper yesterday night, yesterday evening, or 2 days ago, or which side of the bed do you sleep in, or what's your favorite food, anything really. And that is why, just answer the truth. There are no rules of marriage. As I said, the intention has to be to get married and stay married, and and then the other thing, and of course you get married and then hold out together as man and wife, and that's important as well, obviously. Now, if you are filing taxes, it's April and you are married, please file joint taxes. And the rationale for that, and I understand that you can file married filing filing separately, and that's all right, but you cannot file individually. And the rationale is you cannot tell IRS that you are not married and tell another government agency, CIS, that you are married. So that's about it. And then after the when you go in for the interview, you will be also fingerprinted, and the officer has to clear that between the time you got your biometrics appointment and the interview, you did not commit any crimes. And then then the officer approves you and you get your green card. The card is produced at a private facility which CIS has a contract with, and the card is then produced and sent to you. So that's about all there is. However, in a marriage-based case, if you are married for less than 2 years, then you get a 2-year green card. It's called conditional residency, and 3 months before the 2 years are over, you can file to remove the condition, and that's very important. And what you have to prove there is that you have been married and stayed married together for the last 2 years. If, for instance, you get into a bad marriage, say in 2 years, say you have an abusive relationship, or that anything, if you have an abusive relationship, or if you guys are just not compatible enough, something happens, whether monetary or whatever, you can file condition of removal by a self-petition, but then you would have to prove that at the time you got married, you had the intention of getting married, you wanted to live your lives together, but somehow or the other the marriage broke up, but you had when you were married, you were living together, and you have to give a lot of proof. And I've seen some clients go through bitter divorces and tear up all their joint pictures and tear up all the receipts and all that. You can't do that. You have to keep all that if you are going through a divorce, because it's the burden of proof is on you, the individual, to prove that to the officer that you were indeed married and lived together as man and wife, husband and husband. You lived together as spouses. So that is very important. And again, don't lie, because these officers have been adjudicating whether you're married or not, and they've been adjudicating about 7 cases a day. So they know whether whether you're really married or not. Don't be too lovey-dovey. Behave like married couples do. Married couples are never too lovey-dovey in front of others. Wear appropriate appropriate clothing. You don't have to really dress up or anything, but would be better if you didn't reveal too much of your bodies. And that's about it. Good luck with your interview. Thank you.